Jerusalem. In the days of King Josiah, footsteps echo through a narrow stone street in the second quarter of the city, a district of scribes, tailors, and quiet houses pressed close together. 5 men move quickly, their robes marked with the seal of the palace. They are not soldiers, they are the king's most trusted men, the high priest Hilkiah, the royal scribe Shaphan, and 3 others sent on an errand so urgent that none of them fully understand it yet. They stop before a modest door. Behind it lives a woman named Huldah. She is not a queen, she is not a warrior, she holds no office in the temple, no seat among the elders. She is, simply, a prophetess. And today, the fate of a kingdom will pass through her hands. The men knock. And what happens next will determine whether Judah repents, or whether it is already too late.
Come in.
To understand why these men are standing at Huldah's door, we have to go back just a few days. King Josiah was 8 years old when he took the throne, a boy king inheriting a kingdom that had drifted far from its God. For generations, Judah's kings had filled the land with idols, and the temple in Jerusalem, once the dwelling place of the Lord's own presence, had fallen into disrepair and neglect. But Josiah was different. As he grew, something in him turned back toward the God of his ancestors. By the time he was in his 20s, he had ordered the temple to be repaired, the first real restoration in decades. And it was during that repair work that something extraordinary happened. While clearing out debris and dust from a forgotten storeroom, Hilkiah the priest found a scroll. Not just any scroll, an ancient copy of the Book of the Law, the words given to Moses generations before. Lost, buried, forgotten by an entire nation. Hilkiah brought it to Shaphan the scribe, who read it aloud, first to himself, then before the king. And when Josiah heard the words of the law, heard exactly how far his people had fallen from what God had commanded, he did not respond with anger or denial. He tore his robes. It was the response of a man undone by truth. Josiah understood, in that moment, that his kingdom stood on the edge of judgment, and he needed to know, not guess, not hope, but know what God intended to do. So he gave his men an order: find someone who can tell us the truth. Inquire of the Lord. And they knew exactly where to go. Not to a prophet in a palace chamber, not to a priest in the temple courts. They went to a woman living in the Mishnah, the newer district of Jerusalem, married to a man named Shallum, keeper of the wardrobe. Huldah's life, by every visible measure, was ordinary. She held no political office, she commanded no army, but among the people who mattered, the priest, the scribe, the men closest to the throne, her name carried unquestioned weight. When Jerusalem needed a word from God, they did not hesitate. They went to Huldah. This tells us something remarkable about her, something the text doesn't spell out but doesn't need to. In a time when prophets like Jeremiah and Zephaniah were active in Judah, it was Huldah, the king's own household, trusted without question. Not because she so art the position, because her walk with God had already proven itself, quietly, long before this day. Now she stands in her doorway, facing the delegation of the king's inner circle, holding the scroll they've carried to her, the very book of the law, rediscovered after generations of neglect. They wait for her to speak. Huldah does not soften what she is about to say. She tells them plainly, this is indeed the word of the Lord, and the Lord has already made his decision. Because the people of Judah abandoned him, because they burned incense to other gods, and made idols with their own hands, and provoked his anger with everything they built, his judgment will come. Disaster will fall on Jerusalem and on all who live in it. Every curse written in that ancient scroll will be fulfilled. This is not a warning that can be negotiated away. It is a sentence already handed down. There is a terrible weight in the room as she speaks. These are not soft words. Judah's fate, a fate the men standing before her had perhaps hoped could still be avoided, is sealed. But Huldah is not finished. She turns from the nation to the man who sent them. Tell the king who sent you to inquire of the Lord this, because his heart was tender, because he humbled himself before God when he heard these words, because he tore his robes and wept. His prayer has been heard. Josiah himself will be spared the horror of watching it happen. He will be gathered to his fathers in peace. His eyes will not see the disaster that is coming upon this place. It is a prophecy of both judgment and mercy, inseparable. delivered by the same mouth, in the same breath. The nation will fall, but the king who humbled himself will not live to see the worst of it. The men return to the palace and repeat Huldah's words exactly as she gave them, and Josiah does not waste the mercy he's been shown. He immediately calls together the elders of Judah and gathers the entire population, priests, prophets, from the least to the greatest, at the temple. Standing before them all, he reads aloud every word of the Book of the Covenant, the very scroll that had been lost. Then he makes a covenant before the Lord, to follow him, to keep his commandments, with all his heart and all his soul, and the people join him in it. What follows is one of the most sweeping religious reforms in Judah's history. Josiah tears down the altars to foreign gods. He removes the idols from the temple. He destroys the high places where false worship had taken root for generations. He restores the Passover in a way it had not been kept since the days of the judges. None of it undoes the judgment Huldah pronounced. The nation's fate, already sealed by generations of accumulated sin, will still come. But because of one woman's unflinching honesty and one king's humble response to it, mercy still had the final word for Josiah himself. There's something worth sitting with in this story. Huldah could have softened her message. She could have told the king's men what they wanted to hear, or hedged her words to avoid the weight of what she knew. She did neither. She spoke the truth exactly as it was given to her, the hard part and the merciful part together, and let it stand. And it was through her, an ordinary woman, in an ordinary house, in a forgotten corner of Jerusalem, that a nation's reckoning and a king's mercy were both made known. Sometimes judgment doesn't arrive through armies or thunder. Sometimes it arrives through a door, in a quiet district, spoken by someone the world had no reason to expect. This is the story of Huldah, the woman whose judgment came through.